What's good, people? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. Yesterday, we caused a bit of a debate out there, especially on Twitter. If you guys were here for that, we debated on female CSGO, all the haters out there. Thank you all for the responsible comments. I don't think there were too many. Obviously, a lot of you guys shared your opinions on both sides of the story, so thank you guys very much. I appreciate that we can have a discussion here on the channel, and there wasn't too much hate directed towards me. Anyway, it's a new day and a new story out there. New stories, I should say, for CSGO news, all which will be timestamped down below. Let's hop into our first story, which is now a few pro players out there, or at least a couple, that being Stewie and Steel, calling out Tenz for his reaction to now being benched from Cloud9. If you guys do remember, Tenz actually took to stream with a very, I would say, a somewhat extensive explanation. I have a short clip of part of that explanation for all of you guys, where he does pretty much say, just like Cloud9 said in their post, a difference of playstyles. He also goes on to say, though, he was the only person on the team that actually argued with the system itself. He did not trust the system. He was the one player to not apparently trust that system, and that's why he's been benched. So here's a short clip of that.
I was benched because just like our visions, like the way we wanted the team to be run and the way we like wanted, well, I'm like the only person that was like arguing with like people, just because like I was arguing on like I felt like our style wasn't like good. Like I didn't feel like we had a good style, and I didn't like believe in the system. But like it could be my bad, because I remember Damien told me like the system's not gonna work if like everyone doesn't give like 100%.
And then we got Stewie and Steel both responding about this. I would say Steel a bit more extensively. A summary of both of them. Stewie kind of called out Tenz for the contradictions he did make in his statement. I think he actually talked more about this on stream. I didn't catch those clips out there, but Steel made some great points. Again, along with Stewie, though, we're a team. As a team, you play together. It takes 5 minds to play on this team. If one mind does not agree with the philosophy or the play style of the team, they don't fit into that structure, then it's an obvious choice to actually bench that member. And so I think a very weird point. We don't really usually see many pro players calling out the benching of a player, or especially calling out the bench player and their reason for not fitting into a team. So hopefully Tenz will find another team out there where his structure, his play style does fit in. I have no doubt about this. I think it brings up an even further topic out there where I've talked about this in the past. We see more and more up and coming younger players out there, right? 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds coming onto teams, and Tenz is one of those youngsters out there where he maybe wants to mesh his own play style into a system where he does not have faith in that, because as a youngster, maybe he doesn't want to actually play into that system. He feels like he can actually, kind of curate to his own being, where Steel goes on to say, no, if you don't play into that structure, you're supposed to play around the IGL, not an IGL play around the players. And so yes, benching him was apparently obvious. I have no doubt. I have actually very strong faith Tenz will be signed by some other team out there, and hopefully his structure will fit in to that team as well. Again, we see the Cirques out there. We see the Stewies kind of come from the FPL moments. We have guys like Sam out there. Again, there are so many younger players, Oboe as well. You got Mouse Sports, half their team is very young. We are seeing more and more young up-and-comers come into lineups, and some will not work out, and some certainly will. Now, speaking of possible teams out there for a guy like Tenz, where his playstyle, his young name might actually be put out there for options, it could be Complexity or 100Thieves. Now, I say that just because of our next topic out there. Yes, in the thumbnail as well. JDM, it might have been leaked on a Wardell stream. Yes, I'm going to try and mute some of the stream moments because Wardell was playing a song that dropped the N-word. I just don't want to risk it with copyrights out there. Wardell might have leaked a chat on screen for all of you guys where, yes, apparently JDM was talking to him about what teams he was talking to, because JDM has been talking to both Complexity and 100Thieves. And this one makes you think, because JDM has been free for a while now, right? He's been, I guess, short tenured, but ever since Liquid, he's been generally pretty free, to the best of my knowledge. And speaking of Steel, I think they actually went back and forth on Twitter a while ago. Steel was actually mocking JDM for JDM saying he was willing to play any role out there as well for a team in both North America and I think Europe as well. Apparently, it's worked out for JDM because he's talking to both Jason Lake at Complexity, alongside apparently Nadeshot at 100Thieves. All of us are wondering what those Complexity final changes will be. be, because the talk of the town is they still might make 1 or 2 changes, and Shazam might be one of them. So that's the first eye you go to if JDM wants to take an opping role. I still think, in my own opinion, that Shazam would be just as good of a player as JDM would be, especially given JDM's latest 10 years really not being anywhere. Alongside that, a team like 100Thieves, though, if they do want to go to North America and find an opper or a guy who can play apparently any role, JDM has a pretty good brand, a pretty good personality. He could be a good starting point to at least put on a team out there. So I am very curious what actually comes to fruition about this, because we have heard nothing about 100Thieves ever since all of these guys have been apparently swooped up by Complexity, apparently swooped up by OG. If that does also eventually happen, there are so many teams out there trying to approach CSGO that have actually not nailed anything in the coffin, and so JDM could be going to Complexity or 100Thieves. I cannot wait. I can already see the comments now about people complaining about JDM not being worth picking up. Either way, if a team wants to go North America, JDM is apparently a big consideration going forward. Just a quick side note, have any of you guys wondered, I was talking to my thumbnail boy Petey about this, have you guys ever wondered why Complexity's acronym or shorter version is actually COL? Like, is it Collexity or is it Complexity? Shouldn't it be COM or like even COP, but probably COM? Like, why is Complexity going down to COL? If you guys can explain that, I will love you. Oh my. Yo, do any of you guys remember what that's from? I feel like it was in a CSGO video that I first did that, so I might keep doing that. And speaking of an oh me, oh my moment, guys, it's actually Starladder Season 8 is now continuing. I'll touch on this next week. For any of you guys who do not know, I'm actually on vacation till next Wednesday, so next week late I'll cover Star Series, and I do apologize, but once I'm back, I'll keep out crunching these videos out there for all of you. Upset City for Starladder Season 8 so far, as we do see the teams on screen as well. Invictus, 5 Power, the Chinese teams out there. I will have a video for you guys in the future about both Chinese teams, mainly Korean teams as well, because I am telling you guys, with these upped prize pools coming for next year and all of these leagues out there bringing more prize money, I am telling you, these eastern regions, they will continue to actually make their push into CSGO, and we could see some prize teams out there, from what I've heard, actually coming to CSGO. If they actually make that happen, we will talk about that more. But so on and so forth, guys. Some big upsets so far around that. We have many teams out there in the lower bracket already. Mouse Sports and North. MIBR has been struggling pretty frequently. NIP is actually doing well. Fnatic's already in the lower bracket as well. Navi's already gone. Heroic and G2 had their way with them. I will break down the full results come next week as well. But Star Series has been pretty crazy so far. I do feel bad for a team like North, though, because they actually had to play 8 maps a couple days back. In a single day, they played 8 maps because they had ECS matches kind of overroll with the start of Starladder Season 8. It's begun, guys. There's too many tournaments, too many events. It's begun. Well, it's been going on for a while, but it continues. So we will see. Starladder Season 8, guys. Who is the best team in the world when Astralis is not there? Very last thing, kind of a sad story as well to close out on, guys. Aristocracy is now looking for another organization. This has been a very slippery slope and a downhill of these former Virtus Pro members. Obviously, this is TaZ and Cruz, who, by the way, many months ago, probably 4 to 5 months ago, TaZ and Crew, when they were on Kingwin, they were doing very well for themselves. I believe that ESL Pro League contention was probably the highlight of them on that Kingwin roster. Then Kingwin was going to rebrand until Devils 1. They went there for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, they were first the Black Devils, which, as you can imagine, was a terrible name choice. They became Devils 1. Then TaZ and Crew were like, hey, you know what? We're just not going to agree to these contracts. They eventually then go to Aristocracy. They have some decent results as that team, and then get backed by an organization or a company known as Codewise Unicorns. They've now withdrawn that funding, and yet again, we have TaZ and Crew, who's been struggling results-wise. Let's be honest about this. When it comes to the Polish scene out there, we have 2 teams in front of them. Their former team, that being TaZ's former team, Virtus Pro, is now on top because they did pretty well at V4 Festival. Illuminar, I think Innocent, and I think Reitz is on that team as well. They've had some pretty decent results. In terms of teams they've actually beat, though, you could argue they are actually better than Virtus Pro. They just have lacked the big tournament or the big results out there at decent events. And so we have the number 3 team in Poland now having an organization back their funding away from them. TaZ and Crew are now no longer being paid yet again for CSGO. And yes, Polish teams out there have a better time, it seems, finding organizations, finding ways to get paid. But you can imagine if a team like Optic cannot actually be signed and paid, a team like TaZ and Crew or Aristocracy, they might struggle as well. They are yet again playing CSGO for no money whatsoever. We will see what their future is. Until next time, I hope you guys all enjoy breaking down CSGO esports gaming news here every single day. All right? Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon. Bye.